All right, let's talk about karma. And I mean really talk about it. We're going to go way beyond that simple, popular definition and dig into something much, much bigger. Something that actually connects ancient wisdom with cutting-edge science.
So let me ask you something straight up. When you hear that word karma, what pops into your head? Like, what's your go-to definition? Just take a second to think about it.
I'm willing to bet for a lot of you, it's something like, what goes around comes around, right? Kind of this cosmic balancing act. And look, that's not wrong, but honestly, that's just the tippy top of the iceberg. There's a whole world underneath that.
So to really get what karma is all about, we have to start thinking bigger. It's not just some moral rule book. It's more like a fundamental law of the universe, like gravity. Let's peel back the layers and explore these hidden dimensions, and we're going to start by going way back to its ancient roots.
Okay, so our first stop is ancient India and Buddhist philosophy. These weren't just spiritual traditions. They were deep, deep explorations into the mechanics of reality itself. And they zeroed in on two key parts of karma that most of us totally overlook: the quality of what we do and the timing of when the effects show up.
First, let's look at this concept called the gunas, which comes from the Bhagavad Gita, and this is absolutely critical. It tells us that karma isn't just about what you do, it's all about the why. The intention behind your action is what really defines its quality.
So the gunas basically break down intention into three flavors. You've got sattvika, which is all about harmony and duty. Then there's rajasika, which is driven by your own ego, your ambitions. And finally, tamasika. That's the destructive stuff, born out of ignorance. So get this, two people can do the exact same thing, but if their why is different, the karmic result is completely different. Isn't that wild?
All right, the second big idea from the ancient world tackles a question that I think we've all wrestled with. Why do bad things happen to good people? And vice versa, right? Well, Buddhist philosophy came up with something called Sanji Go, or three-period karma. And the answer, it turns out, is all about the time delay.
So check out how this works. Some results of your actions pop up in this lifetime. Others might not show up until the next one. And some could take even longer than that. It's like karma is the stored information system. The consequences are logged, but they don't always cash out immediately. This idea of a delay, it gives us a whole new way to think about all those injustices we see in the world.
Okay, and this is where things get really cool. Because these ancient ideas about intention, about time delays, about stored information, they have these mind-blowing parallels in modern science. We're talking about how our brains are literally wired and even how the universe itself is put together.
So we're making a big shift now. We're moving from philosophy into the world of physics and neuroscience. We're about to look at karma through a completely different lens, the lens of our physical reality, from the tiny circuits inside our brain all the way out to the fabric of the cosmos.
The first bridge connecting these two worlds is something called neuroplasticity, and this is just incredible. It's the proven scientific fact that your brain can physically change. It can reorganize its own wiring based on what you think, feel, and do. This is not a metaphor, people. It's real physical biology.
So how does it work? Well, think of it like this. It starts with a thought, an intention. Then you take an action, and then you repeat that action. Every single time you repeat it, you're strengthening the connections between your brain cells, like you're carving a path in a forest. Do it enough times, and that path becomes a superhighway. It's an automatic circuit, a habit. You have literally hardwired that behavior into your brain.
So just stop and think about what that means for a second. From a scientific point of view, your past actions, your karma, are physically recorded in the wiring of your brain. So what we call fate, you could say it's just the predictable automatic reactions firing from the strongest pathways you've built.
But okay, let's zoom out. I mean, way out. From the brain to the entire universe. Quantum field theory has a pretty wild view of reality. It says the universe isn't just empty space with little particles bouncing around like billiard balls. No. Instead, it's all these interconnected, vibrating fields of energy and information. At the most fundamental level, everything is connected to everything else.
And that brings us to this really profound idea. From this perspective, karma stops being a personal thing you have. It becomes something you participate in. Your thoughts, your intentions, your actions, they're all like vibrations you send out into this universal information field. Your actions don't just affect you, they literally send ripples across the entire cosmos.
Okay, wow, so we've traveled all the way from ancient philosophy to modern physics. Now let's bring it all home. Let's put all these pieces together and build a new, much richer understanding of what karma really is. We've basically looked at 4 different layers, and they all fit together. We've got the quality of your intention from philosophy. We have the logic of a time delay. We've got the physical reality of your brain's wiring from neuroscience. And finally, the universal information field from quantum physics.
And when you put all 4 of those dimensions together, you can see that karma is so much more than just a simple reward and punishment system. It's more like a dynamic information processing system for life itself. And it's running on all these levels at once: philosophical, logical, biological, and physical.
So that leaves us with one last big question to think about. If karma isn't some cosmic judge watching over you, but is actually a fundamental law of the universe, just like gravity, how does that change things? How does it change the way you think about your choices, your intentions, and your actions, starting right now?